Hi guys and welcome to Angling For You. Today join me for another one of the lockdown series, and today what we're going to do is have a look at what's in my bait bag. So obviously we've not been out going to pick up tons and tons of bait, so it's going to be quite short. So I'm going to talk about a little few things that I would put in there for the summer sessions and things about what I use in the winter, and just a general little talk around. So obviously you'll have, most of you that watch the channel will have seen the Superior bait bag review, and lovely little bit of kit. I always have a bait bag. I've had various ones over the years, but I just find that having everything thrown into there is just a lot easier than having bits and bobs put everywhere. So I'll just get rid of that. So what I'm going to do is to start laying a few bits out that we've got, and we'll sort of go through them and sort of swap and move the bag around as we go along. So there's quite a few little bits in here. I won't say it's the most organised bag in the world, but it's all good. Right, so this is just the main compartment, so we'll go into other bits and bobs. Now, number one, I always have a carrier bag in there. Everybody knows when you start opening things, stuff gets thrown about, and it's always good to have something to put spare packets and tins and stuff like that in. Again, bags, I use these sometimes, like for example when you're putting over bait bags that have ripped and things like that. I always have sandwich bags in there and some clickers for sort of like things like this, like boilers. So let's go into sort of the bits and bobs first before we go into pellets. So I always have particles in there now. I just have odds and ends. Like I use these sometimes on the river. Don't really use them in commercials that much. They're like a Scopex flavour, which is like a sweet flavour, and you can see they're still soft. And what I do, you can hook them on a hair rig, which I use sometimes when I go river fishing. What I tend to do is I have them and I break them up with particles from a particle mix to fish down the edge. I'll try, if we get the weather, to do a video about that. So that's pretty much all I use that for. Now, got a few little bits of ground bait hanging about. I haven't got my, if you know me quite well, you know I haven't got my trusty ground baits with me, but we'll go into them. So let's put those pellets to the side. So this is a method feeder mix. I always have some form of method feeder mix in there. This is just a standardised one. They were on offer and I picked one up to see what they were like. I normally use a green swim stem and a marine halibut 50-50, as I do for my paste. Obviously more wet for my paste fishing. I use that for my method fishing as well. Special G also, that's quite good as well. But any sort of method mix just to have in there, I always have. So obviously that's that method mix. We'll stick that little clip on it while it's there. So my first thing would be to say always have some marine halibut, dynamite baits, marine halibut and green swim stem, because they're just unbelievable. I use them for everything and catch so many fish on. So this is a dynamite baits krill. Now this krill ground bait's really fine. You can't make it into paste, it just dissolves too much, but it's really explosive, and I use it for feeding the method, and I mix it with my pellets, my micros when I put it on the method. And I use this is mainly an Houston ferry bait, where they really do like that sort of crabby, seafoody flavour. And I'm a big fan of krill baits, krill hook baits, krill soft pellets, krill ground baits, krill micros, all those. I'm a big fan, and I've had a lot of good results over the last few years on them. So I'll put that one back in there. Now again, this is an old school bait tech, sort of their version of marine halibut. Now again, you can use this on the method. I use it a lot in the cage feeder as well, and it's just a darker mix, and yeah, it works really well. Now I got that sort of back end of the year, and that's why obviously there's a little small amount of it, but again it's quite explosive, good on a method feeder in shallow water, and yeah, you know, just an all-round good bait. This bad boy, this is a throwback to my childhood. Now, I always used to have this Senza slate mix, and I used to use the Vandenines and all that kind of stuff, which I'm sure quite a few of you guys that are watching use. I love this this mix, this 3000 mix, and the Black Magic mix are fantastic. Now, the Black Magic I'll use if I'm fishing for roach, where it's darker in colour, and skimmers with casters and worm and things like that. This lake mix, this has got pretty much every sort of little crushed bit of attachment additive into it, so that's really good to fish in cage feeders with corn or casters, maggots, worms, and pellet even. And I do fish this along with a Magic in cage feeders, not usually on a method. The texture, it takes a lot more water and it's a lot more coarser, and it doesn't hold as well on a method, and it's mainly made for that, either balling in or fishing the cage. But yeah, it's good to ball in as well if you're fishing expander. I think I did one at end of last year, ground bait and expander, that kind of ground bait is perfect for that. So lastly, in this one, we've just got a little bit of brown crumb. I always whiz up odds and ends of crumb that we've got. It's always always good to have, get that out, some brown crumb or white crumb with you, and that's dried. It's not fresh, obviously, because it's been moulded, but it's dried brown crumb, and it works as an absolute treat. So there's a few hookables here, and I've got some more in my main bag. Now I have my obviously superior little PVA cases, EVA cases, should say PVC, that's a bit erotic, but yeah, they have in mixtures of pellets. I've got one that's got 6 ones, so it's got 4mm pellets in, and they're just fishery pellets, and then it's got a little tub of chocolate orange wafters, and it's also got some white chocolate in there as well. So these ones are the juicy dumbbells, as you can see, various different shapes and colours, all sort of fruity flavours. Right waft of them there, and they're really good. I've caught a lot of fish when sometimes if I'm fishing a pellet or I'm fishing a corn every so often, and sometimes the bites dull off, or the weather, it could be particularly cold. Sometimes putting a pink or a white or an orange usually does the business. Yeah, great thing to just have in there. Like I was saying about the krill flavour, these are the 8mm krill pellets. These are great, stink like I heaven, but they've caught me a lot of fish over the years. Done particularly well on sort of big venues like locos and things like that. They really do sort of do the business. And then these standard fish meal soft hookable pellets. These are just a standardised one. I don't really go for any particular break. These are a halibut flavour, and again, they're just good on the pole. Sometimes it's, if you've got the expander on, they do come off quite easy. If you get them either by a really small fish, these will usually take a couple of casts, a couple of strikes before they do come off. So what I'll do, just go through a little bit about pellets. Like I said, I've got 6mm and 4mm in my bag, in my spare bag, and then I have an overflow here, a 6s, and then I always go to Bobco's and get these little, we use fishery pellets obviously. If you're a fishery that uses fishery pellets, then you have to use fishery on pellets. But these are 3 for a £5, and these I tend to put in mixes if I'm going to fish down the edge, or if again I'm fishing rivers, but also it gives you an alternated different hook bait with the darker ones. I usually have a bag of red as well, and they're just cheap and easy to use. So I'll just stick those ones in there. And these ones here, these are spotty fins expanders, these 4.5mm. And they catch me a lot of fish through the winter. That's the only time I ever use these. Sometimes margin fishing on certain venues, double expander will work good for big fish, but general rule, I usually just fish them sort of October onwards really, and I fish hard pellet for pretty much most of the year. And if it's fairly mild like it has been the last couple of years in October, then I'll still be on hard pellet until the temperature drops really. So let's lift the bag back up, zip that top compartment up, and let's sure I've got a few more sort of goodies around and about. So in the front compartment, so I have simple things like a tin opener. I've got a couple of boxes with rigs in for hook links, and always carry a spare set of scissors, and then this is a little bit of salmon oil. Now this is good to add as an attractor. Should finally get it out. An attractor on certain venues, and I do like to use this on Tom's Pond when in the trout season, just to give a little bit of attraction to the pellets when you're throwing them in. And to be honest, I went through a phase where I absolutely used tons of flavourings, and I still do like flavourings and lavas and things like that. Monster bait stuff are really good, and you know, I've tested a lot for Daz over the years, and with really good success. And it's not that I don't use it, I don't always have them in. So the first one, I'm thinking it is, yeah, right. So I said in my last video, I got the little small rubber sort of attachments that I said I used for Tom's Pond, and I had a special thing that I put on it, and I said if people DM'd me, then I would let them know what it was. Quite a few people, to be fair, at least 20 people have DM'd me asking that very thing, so I'm going to share it anyway. So what it is monster crab. So what I do is I soak those, I just get 2 or 3 of them, and I just put a little bit of monster crab on there and just leave them, and then every so often I just dip it in when I'm going back out, just to keep the flavour, and I've caught so many fish on it, it's unbelievable. But it's great when I go to Aston Ferry, I put it in my krill ground bait and krill micros where I'm soaking them, and just, I don't know, it's just insane. Like, I've had a couple of pleasure sessions there and had over 200 pound on the clicker, and then obviously most of you will have seen the 20 pound challenge where we fish with a whip. And if you haven't seen it, you so need to go see that. That is such a good, one of my best films of last year. I basically have 20 quid to spend to buy something to fish with, and the terminal tackle and the bait for 20 quid, and then I have to try and catch 40 pound of carp in 2 hours. So I'm not going to give away what happened, but there's some pretty big surprises in there. Anyway, so moving on, I have still got some of the monster bait stuff. So this one's a bait enhancer. So realistically, this is what I tend to put in when I soak micros. Just gives it a little bit of vavoom. And again, a couple of little monster baits and dips things in there. This one's a banana one, and I use that in the catch, 24-hour catch, in with the bait. And then we've got a Bait Tech liquid coconut. Again, this one I use quite a bit for skimmers, and that's all I have really for dips. I used to have literally 20 or 30. I'm really big fan of the lavas, of all the different types of sausage meat, the krill. You know, they're all good, and I've had success on them, and I tend to put those on your hook bait. So if you've got a pellet on your band, and you either have it individual, or you put it on top of your method feeder with all the pellets in, and then you just put a line across. It's quite a common known thing now, but it does work really well for a little bit of added extra attraction. So you can't really go wrong with those. If you hit Daz Bird up on Facebook at Monster Baits and Dips, he'll sort you out. He's got loads of stuff on there. But there's a lot of things out there, and you do get a lot of good results with his stuff. But that's it really. So what would I use? What's missing? So sweet corn I've got in my dry stores at the moment. We're just seeing if we need to eat it rather than the fish. So I have got a couple of tins in there for obviously summer. With a lot of venues like Messingham Sands where you could go through like 10 tins worth of sweet corn down there. But obviously I never go anywhere without sweet corn in the bag. The last tin I used on my last session, so obviously I keep a few in the pantry. In the summer, meat, I don't generally keep meat in here until it gets to the summer months, because it's just getting hot cold, and it's sat in my shed getting warm. It's a bit grim. So I usually use the top meat to feed with, and then I'll get something like a polony or a spam to hook, because they hold the hook better, whereas the chopped meat just disintegrate and fall off, which is great for feed but not to go on the hook. So corn and meat I would have there. If I do buy some of those Hero dog biscuits. If you've not seen my free line dog biscuit bait one, then do check that out. That's a great video, that one. So I do have the Hero biscuits. They're cheap as chips, and they disintegrate after they've been in the water sort of a couple of hours, so you know, nothing that'll damage fish care, which is obviously essential. And again, bread, I don't tend to fish a lot of bread that much now, but in the summer I do like to take a little bit of bread and sometimes use it popped up, or you know, use it off the top down the edge. It's always good fun to catch a few on the bread, on the pole mainly. I don't really do it on the waggler as much because I don't like all the bread floating about. It's controlled with the pole. Just trying to think if there's anything else apart from, obviously, like I said to you, the marine halibut and the green swim stem. I would always have micros. I run out the last bit of micros when I were there. That's one thing I do need to pick up when I go back to Bobco's or Angling Direct. Micro pellets, I always do that. I try not to carry too many pellets though, because obviously I fish places like Lindome and Partridge and woodlands and oaks and places like that where it's fishery owned pellets, so there's no point in me carting loads of other pellets around if I can't use them. It's just obviously kilos of weight that I have to carry around. Although I do have generic pellets that I do keep in my tubs, and I do keep a tub with oaks pellets and Lindome pellets separated in sort of like a big bait bucket, so I know what they are if I turn up to that kind of venue. So yeah, not really much to add to it. I think a lot of people keep a shed load of bait. I tend to plan my sessions. I have like a generic little bits through the summer where I can just turn up and not have to go to a bait shop. But I think a lot of the times I like to have I don't like to carry too much stuff bait wise, and I sort of plan the session so I know if I'm going to go to Oaks that I can pick everything I need up from there. Same at Lindome, and if I'm going anywhere else then I'll go and pick that up from the bait shop. If I'm specifically filming a video with casters or maggots or worms, then I'll go pick them up usually the day before, as we usually get off quite early, and that's it really. I'm a big believer in just not hoarding too much stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you see a deal then get it, but like hemp, Matt does an amazing trick with hemp, and I'm not actually going to tell you what he does with it because Matt's going to do some filming as well from home and send me the clips online, so then I can edit, so we're going to get some videos coming from Matt, so they're going to be really good. So there's going to be a lot of things about piking, river setups, what essential things Matt takes when he goes to stay away for an evening session or an overnight session, and then little bait tips like how he prepares and cooks hemp so he can get it in big quantities and cook it. So there's a lot of things. We're trying to cover a lot of scope, and Matt's chomping at the bit to get some filming done, so that they'll be coming soon as well, so they'll get a bit of diversity there as well. So keep those bits and bobs coming in, because we've been hearing a lot of good suggestions. That's really good. I will be doing some float ones and some pole rig tying ones, so if you do suggest that, they're on the list. I'm still working from home, so I have to sort of drop in and out what I can film and what I've got time to film, so they will be coming, don't worry about it. And that's it really for today. Hopefully everybody's been safe. I've seen a lot of fun stuff. If you didn't see my little Angling For You post that I did about fishing in the back garden, that's just a little bit of comedy for everybody. So you will have to go on the group to see that one. But yeah, thanks a lot again for your support. Join us on the Angling For You group. Join us on the Instagram angling_for_you. Like and subscribe as always. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Check you on the next one. Tight lines.